Let's begin our discussion into pathways in political leadership and government. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you and learning more about how to get into politics, because I think that's what interested a lot of people in this session, since they're anyway people who are interested in civic leadership and serving the country. So it would be great to learn from your experiences, how somebody who doesn't have a political background, and most of the people joining us will be UPSC aspirants, watching us later will be UPSC aspirants. How can those people now think of a career into politics? Because that's a good way of being able to serve the country while also having power and being within the system.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sardan. And it's a pleasure to come back to Shores Beyond UPSC. I still remember our first conversation where we were in the middle of lockdowns and recovering from the pandemic and figuring out how to take things forward. And I'm glad to be back and talk about political leadership and government and how one can craft their journey towards this. And if time permits, I would also be happy to talk about my own political journey, but that when we get into that bit, right? So starting with, let me start by answering your question, why a career in political leadership and government? Right? First is, there are going to be a lot of rewards, but that will be possible only if you put in a lot of hard work, commitment, and have the right skills and talent for it. It's also a chance to network with the who's who of politics and the people who actually make the key decisions that impact you, me, and all of us, right? This is for those who are interested in working with leading political leaders, social leaders, and other government bodies like functional advisors, strategists, and policymakers. It's not just the lawmakers who run this country, but a whole sum of many actors who make the governance possible in our nation, right? And this session, I'll try to demystify some of those structures and who are those actors and how do you become one of them. And this field can also channelize the strengths of young aspirants and enable them to be better and more competent political leaders, right? Then this is for professionals who have successfully completed a degree in politics. There is increased interest from various actors to hire them, be it business organizations or international organizations or NGOs. They are all these days interested in hiring people with a background in political leadership. This is recent Goldman Sachs report, which I'm sure some of you have already read, wherein Goldman Sachs projects that India will have the world's second largest economy by 2075. Right? Can this be sooner? How can India make this journey of being the second largest economy by 2075? Is a very, very interesting journey for all of us to see, right? The global world order is changing. And when there are many, many factors that are out there, are we taking the right decisions when these world orders change is the important question for us to answer, right? And these decision making will have to happen at multiple levels, and each one of us can play a role there. I'd like to unpack the political leadership a little more right now, right? There is an increase in the political leadership opportunity across the country now. The more and more youngsters are being given opportunities as we speak. Earlier, it used to be the old guards that would have the heft of political power. But today you see state after state, there are youngsters who are getting more and more opportunities. And the demand for highly qualified young intellectuals in Indian politics is increasing. Be it in media panel debates or elsewhere, you see a lot of younger faces coming and discussing politics and policy. The importance of political education is now preferred across party lines as people are trying to go back and understand the history and economy of our nation since independence from different lenses. And hence, a well-structured understanding of political journey of India is very important. The political parties are also seeing a lot of competition and challenges within them these years. And that has brought about the need for understanding politics from a professional angle. And the sum total of the challenge is the same, right? Political leadership will have to have the capability of allocating scarce resources in the manner that it will create enough jobs and opportunities for everyone. And that's where there's a related alignment with the policy space as well for political leaders to understand and become better at. And even in politics, there are many ways to look at the opportunities that come in. Let me start by electoral politics itself. The best place to start is to be a candidate. But to be a candidate from a leading political party is not that easy. You have to work a little hard. Over a period of time, the leadership will trust you and give you those opportunities. But till that happens, there are various ways in which you can get engaged in. The policy research associates will prep every political leader on what are the policy implications, what are the policy alternatives that the political leader has to kind of serve his different stakeholders better. No matter what opportunity that any political leader wants to pursue, a whole lot of advocacy is required around that. We are all familiar with how the Indian government passed the civil nuclear bill. But in terms of advocacy, that fell apart. Today, we don't have a significant uptake of nuclear power being generated in India as compared to what the law itself envisaged. Similarly, the agricultural reforms bills also promised a lot of change, but somehow they didn't reach out to the people and the advocacy went wrong, and that also is not a reality today. So getting the advocacy right is a big challenge for many political parties across party lines, and hence this is a great field of study for those who are interested in bringing large-scale changes. The parliamentary and legislative affairs need a whole lot of procedural knowledge, understanding how do we get the right response from the related parties, and hence associates are required with this knowledge. I was just talking to a youngster right now before we started, and he had actually helped a couple of MPs across party lines to ask many start questions in the parliament in the last session. And he was telling how exciting it was to see his question being asked by the honorable MPs in the parliament, right? And then there is a larger world of political strategists of trying to say, what are the issues that the politician has to respond and prioritize as compared to the 100 issues that may be there in his constituency. And now let's get into the organizational side of it, right? I mean, while individual MPs, MLAs can do some magic, but what's happening inside the party? Today, a whole lot of studies are being done in the party management, how one party is more effective than the other. Why are they able to mobilize a lot more people on ground for political rallies? How are they able to translate that into votes? Which leader will go on campaign for whom? And a whole lot of things are important for the overall party management. And many parties are today bringing in more and more youngsters and very much accelerating the path of contesting elections, right? So in that, how do you prepare the whole party to be responding to all these different challenges? You also, once getting elected is one half of the battle. After you get elected, you need to be able to manage your constituency. So you need a whole capability of trying to manage the constituency, make sure that the leader spends enough time both in the parliament or in the legislative assembly, and also is accessible to all his constituents back home. And campaign management is becoming a very hot topic with overnight success stories we hear from new political gurus coming into the fore. We need people who can be very keenly observing only the election process and serve as the election managers and ensure that the Election Commission of India is updated about what the candidate is doing, and hence they are on the right side of the law. And not to mention the political analysts who need to always be looking out what are the developments of the day and how should the party respond. This is also a very important need. Here is just a quick glimpse of the organizational politics side that we have in our country, right? On the bottom is you have all the national and state level recognized political parties as well as other political parties. But a whole lot of youth organizations are there in the fore, and they are also becoming pretty dynamic, starting with the USANA, the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, NSUI, the BJYM, and many others. The Youth Congress, apart from that, is today also having the All India Professional Congress, which is trying to rope in young professionals like the ones who are in this talk also to be members of that unit. So, whole lot of these institutions also need committed people to be part of it. And depending on your own ideology, you may want to kind of try and explore working with all of them. Right? Then digging deeper into the micromanagement of day-to-day operations, there are media and data analysts are in huge demand. Right? You need media planners who can ensure that the message is also visible across the various media opportunities in limited budget that most parties struggle with. Second is there are a whole lot of publicists required to manage the reputation and how the political leader appears. We have PROs, we have political intelligence and political specialist roles that are opening up now, who can be the eyes and ears and also thinking brains who can run along with the candidates. During elections, you need a whole lot of voter data analysis to be done, telling which are the areas where there is natural strength for the party or for the candidate, and where is the candidate or the party weak, and how can they win over more and more people in those places. And similarly, electoral data needs to be analyzed at a larger scale and see what can be done. Social media, as we all know, is very important avenues of spreading news and opinion. And here is where you also need fact checkers and everybody else to keep sanity in the discourse over there. And media management, again, we need something that every political leader has to invest in. And I'm just now moving into the adjacent field of public policy. Thankfully, unlike in the previous era, where many people wanted to become part of government and governance, but could not become because opportunities were less, today that space is opening up, and those who are interested to promote social good and bring progressive change, there are many opportunities that are coming in. And not just about winning elections, but after winning elections, how do you research, analyze, and identify policy solutions is where people with a policy bent of mind can engage in. And they could come up and advise government and companies to adopt different alternatives that are available. The Niti Ayog's India at 75 report is a wonderful report for everybody to go through. And since many of you are UPSC aspirants, I'm sure you have already taken a look at it. I would like to just highlight a couple of parts here. This report talks about specific areas that will require public policy professionals. The growth in aspirational districts that have been identified and nurtured over the last few years, it requires people with track record of leading change. The legal, judicial, and police reforms that will benefit a whole lot of people will need to be guided by well-developed evidence-based public policy analysis and solutions. The civil services reform is something that India is interested to bring in, but it's fighting many challenges out there. But if that were to come in, then you need a whole lot of understanding of how administration is in India today and how the changes can be brought about. Right? And it's not just the state and city level government, that's state and central level government that's important. Or allow me to correct myself, state and the union level government that's important. You also need to put in a lot of focus on the city level governments. And this needs a whole lot of different expertise of understanding city economics and how they can leverage the state and the national schemes and grow better. And similarly, the demand for policy professionals are also in all these different roles and different niches where they are being hired today. Right? And here is a bunch of think tanks and research organizations in India who are always a lookout for people with both policy and politics knowledge. I mentioned a few of them, and I'm sure you will all know many of them. PRS runs the LAMP Fellowship. They also put out a whole lot of good research out there that's of relevance to political leaders. Their position papers on various bills in the parliament and state assemblies is something that is eagerly looked upon across by party lines. And I've had friends at PRS call and say, Sridhar, you know what? There is this bill coming up today, and there are like so many calls we have received, and we could not put it up because of whatever challenges, right? And so that's a hot place. There is also the Association for Democratic Reforms, which is doing phenomenal work on electoral reforms that are required in India. And similarly, other institutions are playing in one or the other way in improving the politics and policies of our country. Right? Here are a few career destinations for people with good policy and political knowledge. Niti Aayog, GOI ministries, and various state fellowships are there from the government side. On the business side, the consulting, the Big Four are hiring regularly. The clean tech industry is very active in the last 4-5 years, starting with different energy alternatives to explore. The corporate media is on the lookout. There are corporate healthcare and government affairs that are always looking at these. Similarly, from the society, there is independent media, trade unions, social impact organization, social enterprises, dev consulting, and NGOs who are looking out for this expertise. Right? And in the international arena, there are think tanks, multilateral agencies, foreign embassies, development banks, global research and coordination organizations who are looking for young talent with skill. Right? I think this is a good time for us to kind of pause and take any questions that there might be there. And then maybe I would like to spend a little more time on the different, how we have designed the MPG course at MIT World Peace University. Over to you, Sardar.
Pandraj, do you have any questions?
If I may, could Sir explain us how public policy and multilateral institutions like World Bank institutions and United Nations, etc., how that work along? Could you guys throw more light on that?
Yeah. So World Bank, as you know, is interested in bringing in a whole lot of funding for many national and state level priorities. Right? When they are looking at this, they are often challenged with not being able to understand the last level of detail for how the governments operate, where are their strengths, where do they struggle with, how can the money be deployed better for the best results that they desire to get out of their investments. So that's a good point for us to start in and understand. Do we understand the administration in India better? And the administration and the political decision making in India, as I've said elsewhere before, happens at 3 levels. First is the union government, which looks at the union list as well as the concurrent list and keeps making many decisions over there. The second is the state, which looks at the concurrent list as well as the state list. And if you know, in India, a whole lot of heavy lifting and work happens at the states. Right? While union government may be doing a lot of decision making, but a whole lot of implementation is led by the states. The third tier is both at the local body levels, which is the urban local bodies and rural local bodies. And here is a great opportunity if you can understand the decision making structures and how different regions are growing differently. You can bring in a wealth of knowledge for multilateral organizations, including World Bank. So how do you craft useful strategies for priorities of our governments at these 3 different levels as well as World Bank will help us, deepen those roles. So does this answer your question, Pandraj?
Yes, thank you very much, sir.
Wonderful. Good. What's the question, sir?
Yeah, he's saying that he's in the early phase of looking for careers beyond UPSC. And
Right,
selected for the MA Developmental Hazeen Premji, but opted out because he was
right.
critical about public policy career options and the scope in that field. But now he feels that there's more promise.
Wonderful. Good. So we'll keep talking. You can reach out to me whenever you want, Arjun, and I wish you the best for all the choices that you make. And now, just about the campus. Here is our beautiful campus. We are there nestled in the lap of Mother Nature. And today is one of the beautiful day where we are having warm, cold breeze out there in the evening. And this is in Kothurud. This is in Pune. And I am the senior director with the MIT School of Government, which is the first of its kind institute to impart leadership skills in the area of politics and government. MITSOG is empowering youth to emerge as dynamic political leaders to change the face of Indian politics. And our curriculum and our various programs help our students to understand the dynamics of power and governance in India. We impart all the knowledge from complex international relations to intricate local administration. And as we say, our focus is always from panchayat to parliament. And this is where we believe that we need to create strong leaders for the nation and at all levels, at all the times. Right? We were started in the year 2005 under the dynamic vision and leadership of Sri Rahul V. Karad. And the vision is to be a leading global school contributing a pool of well-trained human resources in the domains of electoral systems and governance, and thereby strengthening the democratic systems and governments that will pave way for. We are the MIT World Peace University, and we feel there are many, many pathways to achieve world peace, and better functioning government systems are definitely the shortest path, in our opinion. And our mission is to create leaders with zeal for and commitment to nation building, and we infuse them with a sense of national pride, democratic values, and empathy for common people by inculcating leadership qualities. And as we saw earlier, the need for training in politics and government is well established. Here are the various pathways that our program specifically helps you to get ready for. We're actually honored to have an amazing academic advisory board, starting with renowned scientist Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar, who's the chairman of the board and who keeps advising on various aspects to look at when we look at political leadership and nurturing them. Eminent computer scientist Dr. Vijay Bhatkar has been mentoring us for many years. The founder of MIT World Peace University, Dr. Vishwanath Karad, is there, always helping us. Dr. Narendra Jadhav and many, many other academicians are always hand-holding us and making sure we progress in the right direction. We have a whole lot of political leaders coming in and helping us, including Professor Rajiv Gowda, Dr. Jaiprakash Narayan, Ganesh Karnik, Abhishek Mishra, Anand Kumar, and others. And apart from that, a whole lot of civil society leaders are also advising us to ensure that we get the right mix of society, government, and business, and identifying different start points to go forward. And we're also blessed to have a very accomplished academic team from various academic institutions and practitioners from various walks of life who come and help us build and guide all the students who come and join us into the right pathway. I spent a couple of minutes just on the structure of the program. We begin with the set of foundation course that will help students to get onto the same page. The applicants to the program come from diverse backgrounds, from engineers to science students to students from art and commerce. And hence, the foundation course helps them all to get on the common starting ground to make sure that they understand each other's strengths and also how do they collaborate in the next 2 years of their journey here. And we are a semester-based program divided into 4 semesters. The first 2 semesters are in person here that happen on campus. And then the next 2 semesters, the students will be having sessions online, but they can continue there, but they are required to do many internships and engagements with a whole lot of political leaders and others whom we will enable them to get in touch with and do structured learning programs. And the programs range from, they address different vertical needs from political strategist, political analyst, election consultant, and others. And the program comprises classroom lectures, field visits, and tours to local, state, and national level institutions. We've also been having international study tours, and based on the desire and demand of the students, even that we can ensure happens. Right? We've spoken of the different pathways, and this is where our students have been going and progressing in their careers. Apart from curriculum, we believe that we work on a framework called as Degree Plus Plus at MIT University. And here is where the students are part of various student activities and clubs and many other path-breaking programs. Here is a glimpse of different leaders who have come and taught our programs. They come from different political ideologies and from across the country to come and spend time with our students. Do not miss the session with Anna Hazare that our students have the privilege of attending every year, where he guides on the real requirement on grassroots of how political change must focus on and how it can deliver. Various academicians come and nurture our students from the academic bent of mind, helping them understand the reality and the different programs that our students can get to be part of. We also have the National Study Tour, where our students spend time with different political institutions, the national level institutions, and get a better understanding of what are the ways in which our thoughts can be made part of different leaders and thought leaders' agenda. And these are snippets from the International Immersion Program that our students have had, where they've had a chance to go to the London School of Economics, the Conservative Party office, and various other institutions around the world. They also get to visit the UNESCO office in Paris, the different institutions in Geneva, Brussels, and other parts of the world. I'd like to highlight the National Legislators Conference, which was held recently in Mumbai by the MIT School of Government in partnership with various state assemblies. The Maharashtra Assembly took the lead in organizing this along with us, and we had close to 2,000 MLAs and MLCs from across the country participating for 3 days and brainstorming with each other on what are the ideas that are important for each other, how can there be federal level collaborations happening between the elected representatives from one part of the country with the other part of the country. There were various academic sessions and the discussions were very rich. Do kindly follow the social media handles of NLC Bharat to get more updates on these. We also do the Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, where students can get to understand and interact with each other and come up with issue-based alliances between themselves. And we have been doing this since 2011. A quick glimpse of our alumni who have been very successful at both state and national level parties, starting with Shehzad Poonawalla, who is with the Bharatiya Janata Party, to others who are across different political parties and working with different leaders. I'll just leave this for a couple of minutes. And here is a spread of where our alumni are in which different parties. You see both state level parties there as well as national level parties out there. So it's a fair mix of ideologies that happen here. And whenever the discussions happen in the class, you have a healthy debate of people trying to defend their own political party positions, but at the same time, be trying to understand the other party positions when the discussions happen in the class. And here are some alumni testimonials. And the uniqueness of the course has really helped the students really pursue a career in politics rather than just a short-run sprint in the political governance space. We have wonderful faculty.
These are all of your past students?
Yes, these are all our past students, yes.
And this year would be which batch?
This would be our 19th program, right? So we have had 18. We started in the year 2005.
That's excellent. A lot of people seem to have found their way into politics.
Absolutely. And that's a beauty thing, right? People think that there is no known way of entering politics, but each of our students is such a delight to watch. And I recently met one of our students from many years ago, and he said that he came over, spent a couple of hours with me, and he was narrating his journey of how he came from a non-political background, and today he is the district vice president of Congress in one of these districts of important districts of Maharashtra. And he was giving his journey of how he was considered without having a political background. And each of our students are leaders who have kind of been persisting there, trying to get ahead in this complex journey of the political world. And one of my students in this slide is definitely going to get a wonderful a best chance of representing in the next elections that happen. His name is likely to be announced sometime soon, right? So we have some very, very impactful alumni journeys that the students will benefit from interactions once they become part of the program, right? We have very advanced facilities in terms of library and sports that the students can enjoy from. It's a fairly diverse participant program. We have students from across the country over the past batches. So expect a lot of cultural diversity when you come to be part of this program. And here are some details, and you can also find all of this on the website. And I'll just leave this for a couple of minutes. And then those are numbers in case any of you would like to reach out for further details.
Up your email and the contact numbers.
Yeah.
We'll share the video, and whoever's interested, please feel free to reach out to Sridhar. He's very helpful. He will help you with all your doubts about getting into politics, and he will be very genuine in his advice. So don't hesitate in reaching out.
Thank you so much, Sargam, and more strength to shows beyond UPSC.
Thank you. You've been part of it since the beginning.
I know, absolutely. And I think we need to always keep perspective of trying to see that the intent to do public good is important, but we should not get upset with the hurdles that we face. We have to keep persisting in it. I started this journey 15 years ago when I started involving myself into politics, policy, and governance space, and I have enjoyed every single day of my life, and I'm very delighted when I see somebody get impacted by the work that we have done in various schemes and programs, come back and say, Sridhar, this helped us, and it's always very satisfying when we make our governance better for our own fellow countrymen and citizens. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you so much, Sridhar. I really enjoyed the presentation, especially seeing that you have already helped 18 batches of students get into politics at various levels. And I think this is just the start for many of their careers. We don't know where they will be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. And all the best.